So when it comes to Genesis 6, 1 to 4, there are at least three different views. And you already explained the sons of God uh, view, which Dr. Heisel agree with, and we're both his fans. This is what you also write about in your book, and I agree with this, that the sons of God were the fallen ones, or called the Watchers in First Enoch. Can you also please tell, for the sake of audience who are not familiar, what are two other, or at least two other competitive views which would say, well, no, sons of God is just the term, but we don't see them as fallen angels, rather they're this or that. Can we please just quickly explain the other couple of views?
Yeah, there's some interesting ones. So I mentioned the sons of God as righteous people. So you have uh, people quite early on, uh, fourth century and later, saying, "Well, these are just the line of Seth. The good guys. They're sons of God because." When you look at the New Testament, the sons of God are always the people who are faithful to God, who believe Him, who follow Christ. Those are the sons of God in the New Testament. So if we want to be consistent, we have to take that back to the Old Testament and read it that way, and that gives us this idea of the sons of God being righteous people. Um, there's some issues with that because, firstly, that interpretive model takes it backwards. Like you really have to build your understanding of who the sons of God are by beginning in your Old Testament and working through it that way. And when you do that, you realize that the sons of God are these divine beings who represent God and execute His will on the earth. And they do that um, in supernatural ways and also in embodied forms. Now, that understanding of who the sons of God were, that carries through the Old Testament. But then we find, as we get into the New Testament, that this term sons of God begins to be applied to those people who are faithful to Jesus and who are going to be glorified in the afterlife and who will become effectively the sons of God, replacing those rebels from Genesis 6 so that uh, they are effectively functioning as judges against those rebellious sons of God in Genesis 6. So it's about getting that interpretive model the right way around. And, let's begin with the development of the idea as it was in the Old Testament and work our way forward rather than importing a later theology back into the text. So that's where that one falls down. There's another view that says the Nephilim were like, some pre-human species like, Neanderthal man or something like that. Um, sounds, plausible on the face of it, but then how are you going to get giants from that, crossbreeding or whatever? I don't see how that works. You also have potentially a fairly large chronological gap to cover, depending on your view of how the human species came about. I don't want to get into debates about evolution and stuff, but um, yeah, certainly the idea that we're talking about different species of pre-human, hominids, if you like. Um, that idea is out there, but I don't think it holds much water.